Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we take a look at a Fujifilm camera, but an analog one. This is the Instax Mini 11. Apparently this is the cheapest Instax camera you can buy right now. It cost me about $80. I was just as curious as you about this camera and decided to find out what this is all about, what this Instax deal is. So let's see what's in the box. Please forgive my sluggishness. I'm having to hold the camera with one hand and do the unboxing with the other. Now I come from the film era of photography and I really miss holding physical copies of images taken with the camera in my hand. It's just a completely different feeling to pulling your smartphone out and viewing digital images. Somehow it adds more depth. In the box, you get the camera, the user manual and two AA batteries. Also you get a simple camera strap and some buttons, which you can place with adhesive on the front of the camera's shutter button. Now this camera is used more by women than men, and that's why it comes in yellow, pink, bright blue, but since I'll be using it and I am a man, I specifically chose the black color because it makes it looks like those crappy disposable cameras from the 90s, and that makes it discreet and less intimidating for street photography purpose. Now this is a very expensive hobby to have. Each pack of 20 will set you about $15. That makes taking each photograph $1.04, but I think it's a price worth paying for the ability to instantly hold your photos and the feeling you get from it. It's very simple and easy to use. Just pop the cartridge in and take the first shot, which is the cover. From the second shot onwards, you are ready to go. There is an indicator that shows you there is cartridge inside and a countdown dial to show you how many shots left, just like the old film days. Now this camera has no corners, it's all round edges, so handling with care is a must because it tends to slip if you try to operate this with one hand. Now let's talk about the lens. It says it has a 60mm lens, but that's on a medium format sized film it's putting the light onto. I personally think the field of view is equivalent to a 20mm lens and an aperture of f4.5. It takes about 3 minutes to develop the film completely. The colors are not as vibrant as it should be, but it has this retro vintage style look to it, which I really love, and I think it's part of the aesthetics of this camera, and it's really cool to hold that picture in your hand that is dark and saturated and looks really cool. Now the question is, who is this camera for? This camera is for those photographers who did not have the chance to see the days of film development, or for those people who wants to keep a physical copy of a piece of memory that years from now they can look back and get a sense of joy out of them. It's a totally different feeling to hold a piece of memory in your hand, and the compactness of this mini shape really helps to store a lot of this stacked together in a box. Now the lens on this is not very good, but that goes with the aesthetics, I guess. The nearest upgrade would be the Neo Classic Instax, which lets you set different shooting modes. This is full auto with the flash firing all the time. Design wise, it's not that bad looking, and it's compact enough to carry in my pocket and rugged enough for me to not baby this at all. Sensor dust? Well, there is no sensor, so who cares? Now there is a selfie mode that you have to activate by pulling this lens out a little bit. I guess it just sets the focus to an arm's length. You can use the mirror to align yourself and take an image. what's surprising is that the color rendition is so good on this. The colors of the leather back cover on the phone and the t-shirt I'm wearing is exactly true to life. So the developing chemical in this is doing an excellent job. I wish Fuji would have put more time developing and refining this little camera. I really believe it could have been a winner. You have to press the lens extend button fast and hard, otherwise the mechanical cover for the lens won't open. It's not a big deal, but in a hurry there remains a chance you will take shots that are completely black if this happens. The viewfinder on this is a joke and it's barely enough to actually frame your shots, and don't expect anything more from it. It's just enough to frame your shots. Also, being a rangefinder camera, there is a difference between what you see and what the camera actually takes. There is like a 3-inch difference between the viewfinder and the actual center of the image. So it's not much of a deal, but it's something to take care of. I'm actually starting to understand what this camera is all about, and having those memories of my nephew, my sister and myself, and holding those things in my hand just gives a whole different feeling. Even though I am not involved in the developing process in any way, still it brings me back memories of the old film developing days. Another issue is that it has a light meter to detect exposure, but the flash fires all the time. I get around to it by covering the flash with one hand or bouncing it with a card, but when the sun is almost down, this can create images that are too dark, but I guess it's also part of that moody aesthetic vibe it's going for. So in conclusion, if you want to try the Fuji Instax 11, sure, but don't get this camera. I would suggest to spend a bit more money and get the older Instax Mini Neo Classic 90 or the XQ6 Square. But this camera isn't as bad either, so if you don't have any option other than this camera due to budget or some other reason, it's perfectly fine. Buy it. Now I know that I have not been uploading as much as I should be, and I promise to upload more and get you more content. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. I am a small channel trying to grow, and if you like my content, leave a like. Thank you.